All right, and as we said earlier, that today marks the International Day of Happiness. This year's theme is Happier Together, focusing on what we have in common rather than what divides us as people. People are encouraged to do or say something that will bring a smile to someone else's face today. So as for South Africa, of course, there are fights over power outages. We're struggling with fuel hikes and some not so happy news, I can say. But joining us now to talk to us about the importance of being happy and how does one really remain happy as a person. In studio now we have Thabang Mashego. Thabang is a motivational speaker and she joins me now. Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you very much, Baleso, for having me.
Now I suppose the first question really, Thabang, is make us understand what happiness is.
Sure. Happiness, for example, psychologists will tell you that it has to do with certain aspects of your brain, your neurons communicating to your hormones. But happiness essentially is doing things or attracting something that generates an essence of meaning, gives you a sense of belonging, and also gives you some kind of direction and some kind of a purpose to fulfill in life. But I think with the United Nations having marked this day on the 12th of June was very strategic because we've got the lineal development goals that we need to develop. We've got your sustainable development goals that we have to achieve. So us having a sense of belonging and us contributing gives you a particular form of meaning as well, to know that you've done something to help the next person. It gives you some kind of fulfillment.
It certainly does. But how can it be quantified? Is there perhaps any measurable benefit to possessing a happy mindset, for example?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at in the corporate space, there's a lot of pressures. We look at government currently. It's a bit of a shamble or a mess. And the question that we should be begging today is, how do you remain happy amongst situations that could potentially cripple you? And really, it's all about affirmation or affirming yourself. And that starts with really waking up in the morning and thinking about what is the one thing that makes you positive, what is the one thing that can essentially encourage you, the one thing that can give you an essence of meaning, like we said earlier on. And for some people, it's really just jogging, because your dopamines do something and your hormones do something to your body. You earlier on said your sun gives you the greatest joy. So it's being surrounded by people and things that can love you unconditionally. It's knowing that even if you've completed an assignment as a student, that you've achieved. So being happy, it's the same as winning. Winning is an attitude more than its award. So if you surround yourself with positivity and you surround yourself with things that are substantive in your life.
Talking about surrounding yourself with positive things, is happiness a choice? I mean, we see this a lot on social media, people saying, I'm happy now because happiness is a choice. Is it really a choice, or it's triggered by a number of things that happens around you in life?
I'm going to be a bit controversial but also conventional by saying, yes, it is a choice, because amidst dysfunctionality, it's like the eagle. An eagle marvels at any storm because it knows that's the ordained time to soar to its highest altitude. Now with an eagle, it doesn't rely on its wings, but it relies on the pressures of the storm. We look at the Ethiopian situation right now. So many people lost their lives and people are grieving. But for a person who you can say choose to be happy, you think about the life that you were afforded an opportunity to spend with, the person that you've lost. For somebody who has failed an exam or failed in a business, you think, oh my, I've actually been given more time to excel or develop my strategy. So it is a choice. And you choose at the end of the day to see things differently. And apparently they say that the power of choice lies with things not chosen.
True indeed. But I believe what makes me happy may not necessarily make you happy or make the next person happy.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a personal thing. And this is why we say in the industry that if you are jealous of someone, jealousy is a misinterpretation of your own power. It means you don't understand what you have. And this is why the Shakespeares of this world would say that our fear is not that we are inadequate, but we are powerful beyond measure. And this is why we have a lot of people that choose to do wrong. It's because they are so scared of the greatness and the good that they can potentially do. So it is a personal thing, absolutely.
It is indeed. Can I be happy and sad at the same time? Can I perhaps be frustrated at work, and the moment I go home, the happiness just triggers and kicks in.
Sure, you can be all sorts of bipolar, actually. It happens to the best of us. You're on the road, this person annoys you, in the car, and you get to the office, somebody's left a lovely note on your table. And it's all about perception. The power of perception over reality is what's important here. And you can absolutely switch, but it's always about buying into the moment and also maintaining stability. Make sure that you're grounded. And this is why today in the industry, we talk about emotional literacy and emotional intelligence. To say, don't be moved by circumstances, but have a strategic move. Be moved by things that could, 1, have plausible outcomes, 2, be measurable, and 3, be attainable as well. You can't be shaken by the fact that somebody just dropped a glass. Maybe it's one of your best pieces. But if you can tell me that, geez, I've just lost an investment of 250,000, then we can say you have a reason to be disappointed. But I guess it's different.
And I suppose that response, or rather answers my next question, because what I wanted to ask you is, how do we stay happy, and how do we make sure that the little things that make us happy in life remain at that? Because you get things really that frustrates you in life. So how do we make sure that the frustrations and the anger and the unhappiness that we have in life do not overshadow the little happiness that we have?
The first thing is that we need to acknowledge we're emotional beings. Emotions are very important. Whoever tells us that you need to use intellect over your emotions is actually just BSing you, if I'd say that in public. Now, the importance of emotions come in to say, acknowledge how you are feeling at the time that you're feeling it. Because once you acknowledge it, you know how to deal with it better. And it's all about understanding yourself. For example, for a person who is an extrovert, if you are frustrated at a particular time or feeling angry, you know that, 1, you need to do things that harness, your being. For example, going on cardio, traveling, going to a different environment, taking a drive. If you're an introvert, you keep things to yourself, but you're angry, you know that what stimulates you perhaps is reading. Maybe you need to read a book, maybe you need to be isolated for a couple of hours. So it comes back to self-awareness, because once you are self-aware, you're able to be precise in your move.
Well, Thabang, we can talk the whole day, but I'm afraid we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much indeed for coming through, and happy International Day of Happiness to you.
Let's be happy for the next few hours.
Oh, yes, indeed, of course, we're happy. Thabang Mashego, motivational speaker, of course, talking to us about happiness and how do you really go about retaining your happiness.